let's look at the word breakthrough because I want every one of you to create breakthrough after breakthrough after breakthrough. We're dealing with infinite potential. What does that mean? That means we can always get better. Right now, wherever your results are, just tells us if you're crushing it, what you've been doing really well. If you've been plateauing, it's where we can get better. And we can always get better, but a breakthrough is your birthright. And I want you to ask yourself this. Am I on this to gather information, or am I here to create transformation? I remember I was sitting at, I was doing an event in London a few weeks ago. And I heard a lot of feedback from this event. Anyway, they said one thing that you said that just struck me. And since then, I can't get it out of my mind because I told everybody there's two camps of people. There's one camp that is always gathering information. And then there's the next camp who is desiring transformation. I've been doing this work. I've been studying it for 20 years. I started getting mentored 17 years ago. And when I really committed to transformation, my life changed. I had one of the best mentors in the world. He ended up becoming one of my closest friends. But I remember one day he said to me, right before we started working together, where he was mentoring me, and he said, Arash, you don't know this, you know about it. And I remember it hit me like a ton of bricks in my stomach. I just knew, I said, oh my gosh, he's so right. I keep reading the material, I keep going to classes, but I'm not doing the work. And I'm not implementing. And I was an example of somebody who was gathering information. At that moment, I had such an emotional impact. I said, I'm going to do exactly what my mentor tells me, and I'm going to implement everything he tells me. And in 90 days, everything changed. And I'm telling you this because right now, if you're here and just gathering information, I promise you, you're not going to get much out of this. I want you to decide for yourself that you're going to make a transformative breakthrough because your whole life is going to change. Your relationships are going to change. Your financial blueprint is going to change. Your experiences are going to change. Your confidence is going to change. And that's what you have in store for you. Now, we've got to understand this. It all comes down to a few real, honest truths. It's about how do you want to live? How do you want to live? Are you living the way you want to live? And understand if you're not, you can change that by really committing. And remember, commitment takes courage. Courage is what creates breakthroughs. It's about contribution. It's about what do you want to spend your time doing? I'm going to get into contribution later on in this, but whatever you want, I want you to burn this in your mind. Whatever you want, your give has to be a lot greater than your want. So imagine somebody says, I want to create a life of freedom. Understand from that point, that's great. You know what you want. Now your give has to be 10 times greater. You focus. Success is not about you. It's about the value you create for others. That's about contribution. And it's about how we spend our days. I want you to spend your days on fire. I want you to spend them inspired. I want you to spend them enjoying your friends, your family. I want you to spend your days so fulfilled that you are so fired up about getting better and better every day. And it's all dependent on how you see yourself. If you are holding an image of poverty, it's impossible to create prosperity in your life. If you're holding an image that I can't do this, you're not going to experience the good. So I want you to change that image. And I will tell you this, there's nothing that got me to change mine quicker than what I said earlier. If one person can create a life of freedom, if one person can create transformation, so can you. Now, transformation and breakthroughs is going to be about you. Every single relationship you have in your life is a reflection of the relationship with yourself. That means your close relationships, the people you mastermind with, your financial relationship, your relationship about yourself. Everything is an exact reflection of you. Now, freedom is going to demand personal transformation. Nothing is going to define how you're going to live the rest of your life more than the choices you make. It doesn't matter how much talent we have. It's what we do with that talent. So it's about daily personal transformation. It's about daily being 1% better than we were yesterday. But it's definitely about the choices you make. Nothing is going to define me. Nothing is going to define you than by the choices you make. Now, I want you to accept this idea. Right now, wherever you stand, you could be losing as bad as I was losing when I first started getting mentored. I mean, when you talk about losing, I was a poster child for losing at that time. And I remember my mentor said to me, you can absolutely create your own economy. And he said, I want you to get so emotionally involved with this idea. He said, you're not living the way you're capable of living. He said, you have way too much potential. And he said, I want you to burn this idea in your mind. I remember, I thought this was the greatest idea I'd ever heard. I can create my own economy. Now, you got to understand, I was $150,000 in debt. I had a foreclosure sticker on my garage, and I had just lost my job. Like, if you're talking to somebody who could create their own economy from that point, anybody can. But you have to radically start accepting ideas of how you want to live. Now, I want you to think about this. If it was a year from now and you created the same results you're creating right now, how would that make you feel? See, a lot of people say, I'm going to do this one day. I'm going to change my life one day. But I know for me, if I was creating the results I'm currently creating a year from now, I wasted a year. And I don't want to waste a year. I believe every single one of you are going to create transformations every 90 days. I believe everyone walking this planet is not only capable, once they live the right philosophy, they live their life by design, by the processes they're implementing every day, you're going to have quantum leap after quantum leap every 90 days. Now, you are infinite, so we have to start there. There's no end to where you could take yourself to. There's absolutely no limit. The only limit is in the ideas we've accepted and internalized. But I want you to open your heart, because it takes an open heart. Everything is spiritual. You are spiritual. You're a spiritual being having a human experience. And most people have it backwards. And what I want you to understand is whatever you really want, it is yours. Now, no one is going to build your excellence. No one is going to build your destiny but you. Do you need the right mentorship? Of course you do, because everybody needs a mentor, because we all have blind spots. And great mentors give you great direction. That's what's going to create your transformation. But I want you right now to have the courage to bet on yourself. Now, if you're going to live up to your potential, you have to bet on yourself, and there's nobody better to bet on than you. Now, in the next 90 days, I believe if you're really ready for transformation, that's what you're going to do. Now, I can't do that for you. I can tell you how to do it. I can show you how to do it. I can show you step by step on what to do and how to do, but you've got to be willing to go all in. You've got to be willing to let your past be your greatest ally so you can learn from your mistakes. You can learn from your successes of the past. But I want you to build an amazing future. I want you to build a transformation. Now think about this. What would it mean to you over the next 90 days if you created a massive transformation? I know it would give you a lot more freedom. I know it would give you a lot more self-respect. I know you really feel good about what you're doing. And that's just the start. Your next 90 days after that, now you're going to know what to do. You're going to do it again. And then you're going to do it again. You stack every 90 days and you're going to create a world-class life. But in order to do this, it's going to require you to create new habits. And it's going to require you to letting go of your past life. Now let's look at some things that we have to eliminate. I want you to make a list of the activities you do that have no juice or energy. That is a reflection of what we need to get rid of. I will tell you, I've been around the best, and I've created elite results. I'm living a life of freedom now, not by accident, but by design, because I was a great student. But what I do know is if we don't have juice in the activities we're doing, we've got to let them go. But what I also do know is the best in the world are the best in the world because they're great quitters. They quit at what doesn't serve them. Now, I want you to think of everything that drains your energy. That is a good idea of what to let go of. I want you to think of the relationships that don't work that you're holding on to. These are great examples of what to let go of. Think about the habits that are sabotaging your behaviors. Is it starting and stopping? Let go of it. Is it procrastination? Let go of it. Is it negotiating with yourself? Let go of it. I want you to really take the time to write down, what am I going to eliminate? See, I want you to focus on the important few, not the trivial many. Less is more. When you become excellent and practice the law of 100 with a few things, that's how you're going to create transformation. Now, it's going to require an irrevocable, committed decision. That means I am all in at my future self. I am all in. I want you to, the rest of this webinar where we're together, I want you to think of where you already are after your massive transformation and breakthroughs. What would it feel like? But to make an irrevocable, committed decision, that means that you're willing to change. I say this all the time. Many people are setting small goals for themselves. They want a life of freedom, but they don't want to change. And we have to have a game plan of not just wanting to change, but what is our game plan for changing? When anybody works with me, I set a game plan for them every 14 days. Why do I do that? Because I know I can have them committed for 14 days. Then I stack wins. What do wins create? Confidence. What do confidence create? Our results. But we cannot be 90% in and 10% out. Now, I didn't make up the rules, but I follow them. An irrevocable decision is I am going to do whatever it takes, and it's going to take whatever it takes. Now, for each of you, it's going to be a little different level of whatever it takes, but I promise you, the rewards are far greater than the price you have to pay. Now, 90 days of definiteness, would that be worth it for you to activate excellence in your life, for you to activate a massive 10x jump in your life? And you're probably thinking, how can I do a 10x jump in 90 days? It's magical what happens. The jump is always in our emotional state before we see it in our results. But I want you just for a moment, imagine I went all in every day for 90 days. I shut off and I eliminated the fear of missing out, and I got really locked in what that would do for you and your family. Now, none of this works without betting on you. I will tell you this, the moment I bet on myself is when my life changed. You start walking in to a world that is so foreign to the old you. But this is when the magic happens, and I will tell you this, and I want you to accept this idea, that there's no one better to bet on than you. I want you to bet on you. When my life changed is when I bet on me. I remember, I've shared this story if you've been following me many times, but it was so clear to me. I was in Portofino in Italy, and my wife was getting ready, and I was sitting out on the deck, and I was looking over out at the ocean, and this thought came to me. They said, what was it that really changed the game for you? And it was so clear to me, the answer that came in. He said, the moment your life changed was the moment you bet on yourself. The moment I bet on myself, I got out of my comfort zone. The moment I became courageous is when my life changed. My results didn't change, but my life changed that day, and my philosophy changed. The direction of my life completely changed. And that's what I want you to do. And understand, without courage, none of this is possible. Every significant breakthrough is the result of a courageous deviation from your old way of thinking. Now, a lot of people think Freedom means comfort. Freedom does not mean comfort. We always have to be courageous. The universe responds to our deepest commitments, hence why I always teach irrevocable committed decisions. However, no matter what level you get to, you're going to still have to be courageous. Freedom is not about lack of courage. Freedom is about confidence. Freedom is about living and enjoying the experiences you want. Now, I want you to think about your life. If I said there was one experience that you would like to experience, what would come on the screen of your mind? Would that be, I'd like to have freedom of time? I'd like to never worry about money again? I'd like to have this amazing relationship? I'd like to get in the best physical shape of my life? All of this is going to demand you to deviate from your past self and tap in to your future self. And your future self is so much more courageous than you are right now. My future self, I'm no different. I keep tapping into that future self. And that's where the change happens. But we have to understand success comes down to a few simple choices. We have to know exactly what we want. So I want to ask you this right now. Do you know exactly what you want? That's number one. Number two, you have to determine the price you have to pay. What is that price? Does that mean I have to hire a mentor? Does that mean I have to learn what processes that my goal is going to demand, that my life is going to demand? Does that mean I have to learn a skill set? I have to be in a mastermind group with higher level thinkers? And then number three is you just have to ask, are you willing to pay the price? I promise you, your goal, transformation, breakthroughs, financial freedom, living a world-class life is going to determine you to pay a price. But the price is pennies compared to the reward. Now, what if I said to everybody, I say this to myself all the time, is you're not thinking big enough. Now, what if I said that to you? Would you agree with that? Would you disagree with that? See, everything is our thinking is a prequel to everything we see in our life. I want you to look at what you have in your life right now. Understand that that is in harmony with your thinking. Now, in order to create success, whatever you want, you have to want success as badly as you want to breathe. Your want has to be through the roof. You know, there's a great fable by Socrates. I can't tell this story enough because there's nothing I found more accurate. And this gentleman comes to his house and says, Socrates, I want to be as great of a philosopher as you are. And Socrates says, sure, come to the back to my lake house. So he takes him in the back, he says, kneel down. And he grabs him by the neck and he holds him underwater. And he's holding him. And the fable goes that the gentleman's kicking. And Socrates brings his head out and he says, what were you thinking? He said, all I wanted to do was breathe more than anything else. And then Socrates, the wise man that he was, he said, if you want to be as great of a philosopher as me, you have to want it as badly as you want to breathe. See, when I was losing, I was so sick and tired of losing. I was so sick and tired of being sick and tired. And that's when I changed. Because I was inspirationally dissatisfied. And I wanted to create a life of freedom. And I didn't know if I could do it. I didn't know that I couldn't do it. But I knew other people were doing it. So I put myself on the hip of somebody who showed me exactly how to do it. Now, I would tell you, if it was all roses, it was not. I had to overcome my old self. But what always drove me was my dissatisfaction of mediocrity. I became so inspirationally dissatisfied that got me to change because I wanted the other end of that life. And I believe financial freedom is one of the best goals somebody could create because what it makes of them. That's what it made of me. It made me a completely different person. And that's why I want you to build it so strong. And I don't want you to think for a second you can't do it. Because I know you could do it because everything works by exact law. And if we follow the law, we're going to win. If you put good out, you're going to win. If you build your skill set, you're going to win. But if you play it safe, if you don't make decisions, if you don't get the right mentorship, you don't get the right direction, you're going to keep creating the same thing over and over again. Now, I want you to look at these. These are lines of frequency. And take an honest look at your present results right now and understand you're getting them by exact law. You can only attract what you're in harmony with. Now, we can change it is the beautiful part. So if somebody is really sitting there, and if I only hit one of you today, it's worth it doing this for me. Because I have dedicated the rest of my life, until the day I die, I'm going to be coaching. I am a coach, and I'm an elite level performance coach because I show people how to bring out their juice, how to bring out their potential. But I get them to change what always has been to what can be. And I want you to do the same thing. Now, every day, one of our biggest obstacles in every one of our faces is present results. What do you think why so many people are in anxiety? Because they're letting their present results control them. Their present results becomes their identity. It is not your identity. It's just faulty thinking. But understand, I want you, every morning when you wake up, you make an intent. I am not letting my present results or outside circumstances to control me today. Now, what's another thing that stops people? Now, this is at the top of the list. I've been studying this for 17 years. And this is the number one sabotager that gets people to live a very mediocre life. They are always protecting themselves from who they want to be. They said, I want to do this, but I'm going to wait till this happens. I'm going to wait till the kids go to school. I want you to already live there right now. When you see what you want, you live in the spirit of it. But I want you to make a definite, irrevocable, committed decision that you're going to let go. You're going to be a master at letting go, and you're going to stop protecting yourself from who you want to be. Now, so what am I asking you to? I'm asking you to let go of the resistance. I watch people, every year I mentor thousands and thousands of people. And the beginning of when I mentor them, the first thing I do after finding out what they want, I have to identify where their resistance is and teach them how to let it go. We have to become masters at letting go. When you let go, that's when the magic happens. When you let go, you're detached to the outcome. When you let go, you're willing to be brutally honest with yourself because that's where the transformation happens. I want you to think about you right now. Forget about me, but I want you to go get quiet with yourself and say, where is my greatest resistance? A lot of people will tell me it's the money. And I always tell them money's an effect, it's not the cause. So your resistance is your relationship with the money. Your resistance is your skill set. Your resistance is settling. And I watch way too many people create lesser goals and they settle for lesser when they can become a lot more. Now, what is a reason people protect themselves? If you're a watcher in your life, you're protecting yourself. Big sabotager. A watcher, there are always spectators in the stands watching others play the game of life, and they envy other people's lives. A watcher is always watching somebody else get the money, the recognitions, and the rewards. Now, I want you to ask yourself, am I a watcher or am I a player? A watcher, they do just enough to get their needs met, but they never work diligently and practice the law of 100 to get really great at what they're doing to create the life that they want. A watcher, at the first sign of difficulty, challenge, or disappointment, they discard their dreams and blame others. They say, no, that's for somebody else. I've tried it once. I better protect myself. A watcher, when they fail, they'll never forget it. They say, I'm never going to put myself in that situation. Instead of having accurate thinking and saying, where did I lose when I failed? Where did I miss? Where was I not emotionally involved in it? Was I playing not to lose? See, you've got to first identify so you know where you're protecting yourself. They're never playing the game of life actively, and they're excuse makers. A watcher is a victim, not a leader. Now, look at a player. A player, they have practiced until they're the best they can be. Like there's somebody that every one of you admires. that you look up to, that you love their confidence, you love their fearless attitude. And you know it because they're players. They have practiced diligently their craft until they're the best they can be. Now, the difference between a player and a watcher, and a winner and a loser, the loser practices their craft until they get it right. A winner practices their craft until they can't get it wrong. That's the difference. Now, they reap the rewards of their efforts. They know if they keep putting good out, they keep failing, they're going to continue winning because of the persistence. And they use their power to make things happen. They know there's nothing they have greater inside of them than their higher faculties, where they use their mind for them rather than against them. And they know there's a person inside of them that can do 10 times better. So they always reach for that well of power inside of them. They tap into that person inside of them that knows you could do 10 times more. And that's what the player is doing. They take risks and they get the rewards. Now, I want you to ask yourself, am I a watcher or am I a player? If you're a watcher, you're protecting yourself. But imagine, what if I learned how to be a player? What if I build the identity and the confidence of a player? What do you think would happen in your life? Now, everything is a result of our thinking. So you can never get results beyond your current level of thinking. If I look at my results, it tells me where my thinking has been. So when we understand that, the currency for attracting what we want into our lives is our thoughts. Now, I want to go deep with this with you. Now, I want you to look, this is you. And there's 3 parts of you. You have a conscious mind, you have a subconscious mind, and you have a body. But in order to understand us and create a massive breakthrough, we have to understand how all 3 parts of our mind work. Now, our conscious mind is our manual mind. It's our thinking mind. It's our educated mind. And it's where our intellect resides. Now, what I want you to do is get your conscious mind working for your subconscious mind. So, how do you do that? You think about your want, your goal. What do I want more than anything else? And now I think, feel, and act on a conscious level from that person. That's how your conscious mind works for your subconscious mind. Now, your subconscious mind is your emotional mind. And your conscious mind, you could choose any thought you want. I want you to choose big ideas. I want you to see yourself big, because you are in control of your destiny by how you think. So how you use your conscious mind is going to be expressed in your subconscious mind, which is going to show your results. Now, your conscious mind, you can accept or reject any idea. Most people are doing neither consciously. They're not accepting or rejecting, so every idea goes inside of them. So they're letting the outside world dictate their life. They're giving all their power away. I want you to be a master at accepting and rejecting ideas. Make a decision this very second that I am going to only accept ideas from my goal and from my future self. And any idea that is not in harmony with that, I'm going to reject it. If you do this for 30 days, you're going to build so much discipline in your thinking. Now, your conscious mind, you can originate any idea, originate an amazing idea. I mean, an amazing. Later, I'm going to show you several success stories of people who we've taken from inspirationally dissatisfied to freedom. Now, I taught them this. And every single person, when I first work with them, I tell them that I want you to get a PhD in accepting and rejecting ideas. And once they start operating my processes, they're living their life by design, and they're creating their strength by being superior to their former self. Now, your subconscious mind must accept. So if you're not rejecting or accepting, your subconscious mind has no ability to think. It just accepts it, and that's what you're going to see in your results. And it cannot reject. It has no ability to think. We've got to burn that in your mind. A lot of people ask me this question. They say, how can I get my subconscious to believe it? And I said, well, it's what you do on a conscious level. and what you emotionalize. And when you start understanding that you are in control of your destiny, the game changes. In your subconscious mind, it cannot determine between what's real or what's imagined. I want you every night before you go to sleep. Your results could be very mediocre, you could be really struggling, but before you go to sleep the last 5 minutes, I want you to tell yourself what you've accomplished. What you're doing is not lying to yourself, you're training your subconscious mind of how you're going to live in the future. Now, everything I told you on success starts with what do you want? I want you to pick one want over the next 90 days. This want is what do you really want more than any other want? And that's what we're going to work on together. What I really want more than anything else. That's the only thing I want you seeing yourself as. Now, how do we get that want inside of us? We have to radically accept an idea. I told you it's about accepting and rejecting. Now we're going to mix intent with this, with decision. We say, I am so happy and grateful now that in the next 90 days, I have quadrupled my sales. I have released 20 pounds. Whatever it is, I want you to radically accept it. And never worry about the how, and never worry about the circumstances. If you come work with me, I'm going to put the right processes and show you exactly what's possible in 90 days. Now, when you radically accept, you're not thinking, oh, I wonder if it's going to happen. You have this absolute faith in seeing what you want. When you radically accept, it's a done deal. I remember one day I had accomplished something pretty big for me at that time. And my mentor was congratulating me. And I said to him, I wish I would do it every day. He said, well, why don't you? And I said, I guess I don't know. He said, this isn't rocket science, Arash. He said, all you have to do is accept the idea. I said, say that one more time. He said, all you have to do is accept the idea. He said, you're making it a lot harder for yourself. And from that moment, I just would accept every idea. Anything I wanted, I accepted it, it was done. Because I was a great student. He said, all you have to do is accept the idea. And I just accepted it. Now I started focusing on the next action I had to take. What mindset I had to build. When you radically accept an idea, you change the game. But in order to do this, you've got to make your want a magnificent obsession. When you make it a magnificent obsession, it's always on your mind. But what happens is you activate your cognitive map. What does that mean? It means you activate your understanding. Your brain is here to work for you, but it only works based on what you give your attention to. And right now, I want your attention, the order you're giving to your brain, so it goes and works on it right away, is what you want more than anything else in the world.